Ashkoda renactment as produced and presented by the Lodge School, you are in the right place. We will be speaking to you this afternoon, and if you'll stay behind the fence, your orange rope, that's the spectator area, and then the area on the other side leading to those teams in the week, so they devote some time of school, a school time, to Native American Week. And for this purpose, the Lodge School has taken on this ambitious program of presenting one of the most notable events and wipe out the crow from the face of the earth. To do that, they gathered together the forces from 3 different tribes, and we will be discussing this and presenting it to you this afternoon. On that occasion, the Sioux, the Cheyenne, and the Arapaho gathered forces, offered the pipe to one another to do war and wipe out the crow. When they offer the pipe and you accept it, you commit yourself to what it is that the pipe offerer asks you to do. So it's an offer that you do not refuse, and then once you accept the pipe, you are duty bound to follow what they say. So it was that kind of a situation where the Sioux, the Cheyenne, and the Arapaho offered the pipe to each other to come and wipe the crows from the face of the earth and take over this wonderful country. The crows are small in number, and we will describe that during the program. It is told that at the last campground of the crow over on the Bighorn, before the war party descended on them, that the enemy took 10 men with rifles, with gunpowder, and put them on each campsite of the crow. And the crow were outnumbered 10 to 1 because you see every campsite that the enemy found, they could put 10 armed men in each one of those campsites. And these were the individual homes as they camped. On that occasion, the crows were then duty bound to defend their country with what they had. So they called upon the Great Spirit. They called upon their manhood. They called upon their bravery. They called upon their women folks and even their children to not only show respect for the tribe, but to defend it. They were successful, and that's what this play is all about. To tell you the story, we'll go back into the past of the crow and bring you up to date in a way that the Lodge School has put this together as part of their program in bilingual and bicultural education. They tell us that on that occasion, the crows had to do something very unique. They had to do something unusual to survive. And they developed a strategy where they did not meet the enemy head on as they usually did, one by one. The strategy was this, and you will see this demonstrated here this afternoon or this morning, whatever time it is. But they said the chief, under the leadership of sits in the middle of the land, renactment-Lodge, he developed a strategy that if we go at them one by one, they outnumber us and they'll probably push us around. So what we will do is this: we'll need to exercise some discipline and we'll attack in formation, maybe 20 and 30 people at a time. Take your weapon and ride side by side, and we will charge not as individuals but as a group, like a team. So they did that, and they would push the enemy back up against the hill, and right across in front of the teepees in that area, if you'll put your imagination to work, there will be a creek there, Arrow Creek, Pryor Creek, Arudaja, and that's where the battle was. Right today you can go there and see the battle site. It's where East Pryor Creek comes into Pryor Creek, about 9 miles downstream from Pryor, Montana. And that's where the battle took place. So what they did was they had teamwork, they had discipline. So they would tell the warriors, don't charge until we tell you. So they would wait until an order was given, Then they would charge as a team, and they would push the enemy back. They did this time and again, all through the day. And toward the end, they began to see the coming of spiritual intervention, and the battle turned in favor of the Crow. But this is the story you're going to see today. But this is the work of the Lodge Grass School, the bilingual program, to keep track of things here and relate things to you as it comes. I appreciate your listening to me, but you are in the right place. This is where a showdown in Atikwa is to be staged by the Lodge Grass School, and these are all students. These are Indian students, some non-Indians, some non-Crow, but they are all students of Lodge Grass School, and they are here to show you how they appreciate this story. They can demonstrate teamwork and how they relate to the spiritual world, how they relate to one another. This is demonstrated here today, and this is to teach them the responsibility of being a contributing member of the tribe, to help protect Crow land, to help protect Crow women and children, to protect Crow people, to protect our way of life, so that we continue to live as Crow Indians in this great Crow country. That's what this program is all about, and you will see this acted out this afternoon.
She's right here. Hey, that horse is ready for you. Where's it at? Way over on the other side by the fence. The pace.
Is there anyone to throw me up?
Huh? Right on me. No, go sit TJ on the horse. Hurry. Go yourself. Come on, babe. Go throw him on the horse. Hurry. Shiama. Let him up.
Two, one.
Some physicists actually said that they have studied something in electron properties near the speed of light when things move backwards.
Two, one.
Or sideways. Yeah, I wish I could have been. You know, I spent all day yesterday.
There will be many acknowledgments this day. As we told you, this program is being staged by the Lodge Grass School, the bilingual and bicultural program, and as such we're using the funds that are allocated to the Lodge Grass School for this program. In addition, there's an organization called Learning Lodge Institute. This is funded by the Kellogg Foundation under the leadership of Dr. Lanny Reelberg, and they contributed funds to stage this play today, this pageant. So this afternoon, they're going to be given the Ashkodawinaftikwa, where the entire lodge, or the entire tribe, was under siege by the enemy. And to signify that, we'll tell you more about it, but there are 3 teepees over on the infield. Those represent the 3 bands of the Crow tribe, done the way it is, and also to give you an idea of who did these things. I'd like to make one comment. The bilingual program and the bicultural program has been working very hard to make this presentation. You will see the costumes, you will see the weapons, and these were designed according to the Crow way of doing things, and some will be dressed as Sioux, dressed as Cheyenne, Arapaho, and Crow. And if you look at these costumes closely, you will see that the tradition has been maintained, and this was put together through the bilingual program. And you go into that school building this morning and last night until about 2 o'clock this morning, and that was like Santa's workshop. You saw all these elves turning out all these costumes, all these weapons, and they are all authentic. You'll see symbols. Some of them are actual paraphernalia and regalia, but a lot of it has been put together by the staff and the faculty right here at Lodge Grass School. The teepees have been put up by local personnel of the staff with the help of the students. We were out here last night, and the students came out from the high school and put up that first teepee. That's the way they put up the teepee. They learned while they're doing it. I remember last spring when they were taking lessons, and they put up that teepee in 15 minutes. That was about the fastest I've seen anywhere else because they were practicing it. So from this program, from this presentation, we're beginning to reintroduce Indian students to the Indian way of life. We're beginning to reintroduce Crow Indians to the Crow way of life and to let them know who they are, where they come from, and why they are still here. Because of the dedication, the bravery, the strong will, and the determination of the Crow people to stand their own ground and keep this wonderful country for Crow people to have for generation after generation.
Yeah.
Something that we have nearly lost because of these stories. We continue to be Opsaroga. It is great that we have resources like Barney Old Coyote, who was a member of the original Crow Culture Committee, and many others that started the Crow, retaining some of the stories, people like Chester Medicine Crow, people like Plain Feather, all those elders that were still alive way back around the 40s, the 50s, 60s, and even up to the mid-70s. These resources were all combined in the compilation of their stories, which were very similar. They were put on tape, they videotaped many of these stories of these elders while they were still alive. And many resources were very knowledgeable because they had family members that can recollect and remember what actually happened. In our family history, my great-grandmother, Medicine Old Coyote, was actually 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old, 7 years old when the tragedies. But by observing these elements, these crows developed their norms and mores. It's by this observation that we continue the legacy of being Opsaroga. As time continued, even by observing the elements of the weather, we have stories that formulate your mores and norms. With that, I think we're about ready to start. And I will turn the mic over to Barney Old Coyote, who is your moderator for this particular play. Barney is a well-accomplished achiever and accomplisher in the non-Indian world, as well as retaining and maintaining his Indianism. And he was raised by Old Coyote and Medicine Old Coyote, who taught him and instructed him and educated him in the legacy of our Crow Indianism. So we rely on Barney's knowledge for this particular play, because it's not only Barney, but all the resources that educated him in the correct knowledge and information that's provided by those resources way back around the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, even in the mid-70s. I'll turn the mic over to Barney Old Coyote.
Thank you, Sergeant. We're waiting for the starting signal as soon as we get it. You will also notice that Lodge Grass School is not the only one observing Native American Week, because they're doing this in all the schools around this part of the country, and the Crows especially, right here at Lodge Grass, Crow Agency, Arden, Pryor, even at St. Labrie, they're putting on programs during Native American Week. And like we told you, this particular one is a presentation of the Lodge Grass School through the bilingual program, through the Learning Lodge Institute, funded by the Kellogg Foundation. Dr. Lanny Reelbird is the director, and this is why we have such a large group put together here. Your cast is over 100 people. They have more than 80 weapons themselves, all put together and manufactured by the bilingual and bicultural staff and faculty. And they were working late nights. This past week they burned the midnight oil. And last night they were still here until 2 o'clock to produce these very effective and authentic costumes and weapons and other paraphernalia and regalia that you will see out here this afternoon. Lenny, who is it?
Azak go over. Him Sunny Black. Hey. In the wall are him. What am Hey, bit of that.
For 2 minutes.
I'm about to wear it up. Chibago.
Can run me around. Did you do it for Pumigasta? Just a little short prayer. But the thing here, over here, Egypt party that. You know, Morocco is soon. But I got so cute. This is the toughest garden. This goes right here.
That's it. David, that's a ship. Egypt barrier is up with that. Kafisha Gagnes, those 80 DHQ. That's what we get.
Him Azak put down or come on.
So many of you know the stories that I included this afternoon's program, and we're not taking liberties, but like we told you, all these stories differ in one way or another, particularly in the style that these stories are told from generation to generation, from person to person. They tell us that all these stories are similar and alike. The principle is the same. Enough so that when we talk about many different things, you will hear different versions. So what this program has done is put together the best information that they could and present it in a way without trying to cover all the different versions that they hear. I remember one time that we compared stories with other tribes. We found that the Sioux, the Omaha, the Oto, the Iowas, and other tribes had very similar creation stories, and others still had the same story but with different characters and different principles. And I'd like to share with you just one of those ideas. In the creation story that we will use today, it'll be one version. At the same time, there are printed stories of the creation where the first maker found that this was not good because there was water everywhere, there was no land, and there were no people, there were no animals, no nothing. So we will present you with one story today, but in that connection, they say they took mud and created everything from that. And that same story is true with many, many Indian people across this country in North America. If you go to the Iroquois nations, the Cayugas, the Senecas, and the other tribes of that Iroquois Federation, they say it was a turtle who came from the bottom of the sea and brought mud up. And we became people from that. So that story is very similar. And I remember one story about the Rosebud Battle. My grandfather Oldcoyote, who was wounded there, said, I was there, but I didn't see the same thing as other people do. You can be in the same battle and not see the same thing. So we get many versions, but I wanted to bring that to your attention. So right now, we're going to begin this afternoon, this day's program. To do that, I'm going to take the liberty of asking Joe Medicine Crow to offer a few words in prayer. If you'll join us, put your mind to it, and we'll have a short prayer to begin this afternoon's program. Please pay attention. Dr. Joe Medicine Crow, our first graduate student of the Crow tribe from the traditional side. He got his master's degree, University of Southern California. He earned all the rights to be a chieftain during World War II. He's one of our elders. He's one of our most respected authors. He's printed many books, and recently he's published books that traveled all over the country. And in recognition of the fine tradition that he has followed, and being a grandson of one of our last great chief, Medicine Crow, we'd like to ask Joseph Medicine Crow, Highbird, the Gokbug, to offer a word of prayer. Dr. Medicine Crow.
Oh.
Aho. Mr. Wagamo. Kahe. Edges Maria. Wat is gehoord eerst? No base. Wat big. Maar wie schoot maar even gemaakt is. Ik ben te doen wat ze gaat doen. Is aangewoord goed maar even in de kut maar even uit het tak maar even houden. Nee, eerlijk het gewoon wou. Maar dat is aangewoord kan mee weer doen. Kom maar in. Van die wat gezegd kom maar in. Het bam schoon. Maar casa in Mario, van die wat raak, gemaakt, dit is eruit dachten. Wie raast dat zal? Door het mond die ook nog zoiets. Hij wordt goed schoot, gescheiden en hoe heet dat? Staat daar in de historie wat raak, goed, maar hij is hier komt, die wordt gehouden. Dat is het zelf. Mijn hoofdmoord thuis. Of zou ook eens. Laten we het maar naar goed daar. Wat kost er ook? Dit kost er ook als je wie doet. Osmaasadaga niivautau. Niivatsuukiigattu. Maneerogaten nilvakana shit. In all cautious report. And this side of the whole more a hot bot chat. And the Nawabate Sidadre, Plakato, a salo girl, Mawaka, Takamo, a Maria was already got to eat it. Kariwa go cake, Nawabate, was Papa Kato, was Magat Kato, yes, go here, DG argument, was all my. But yes, really true. What are you talking to? Aho.
Thank you, Dr. Medicine Crow. So welcome, everyone, to this September 25 presentation of Ashkodawi Nextikua by the Lodge Grass Schools from K through 12. This was produced by the Lodge Grass Schools through the bilingual program, bicultural program, and through the Learning Lodge Institute of the Kellogg Foundation. And we will now begin with scene 1, the Absaroga creation. Imagine, if you will, that we could see what happened many generations ago. So this is the Absaroga creation, scene 1 of today's program of Ashkodawi Nextikua, a Crow story. Long ago, in the beginning, First Maker created the earth, the plants, the mountains, the animals, and the sparkling waters. He created Old Man Coyote to show the Absaroga how to live in their country. First Maker took mud from beneath the waters and formed human beings in his own image. Then First Maker breathed into this creation, and for this reason, Absaroga people say that speech or the word is sacred. Then he also created Red Woman and Sheeta Bed, along with Old Man Coyote. These three would show us how to live in our country. He created both good and bad and gave us the knowledge to choose good from bad. So these three will demonstrate some of the things that we have been taught. After First Maker did this, he asked Old Man Coyote, he's in the middle out there, and you'll see him with his face, the coyote face. And then Sheeta Bay is off to his left, and that too is another coyote. But Sheeta Bay was his partner, and he would gain, he would benefit from every mistake that he made. And then on his right, dressed in red, is Red Woman, the source of evil, of meanness and mean-spirited and temperamental things. Those three formed our courage, our image of the great beyond, but more particularly how we lived our lives. So these three govern our past. When he did this, we will show you now how the Creator created man and all these things. So Old Man Coyote, in the presence of Red Woman and Sheeta Bed, will demonstrate how he took water from the bottom of the sea and created all these mountains and men. So if you watch closely and imagine that this is a reenactment by Old Man Coyote of the Creator doing this, now you will see him sitting in the middle, and he'll tell Sheeta Bay, you keep your distance. And then he'll tell Red Woman, please let me finish what I'm going to do. So now I'm going to reach down into the water, and I'll bring up some mud. He reaches into the water, gathers up the mud, throws the bad parts away, and then he finally throws it around to form the continents, the land, the mountains, puts all these things in place. Then he's going to take one. He said, this place is no good. The animals, the mountains, the water is all here, but we need the people to appreciate this. So I'm going to create a human being. So he took that mud and he shaped it in his own image. He looked at it and he said, this is good. Now I will give it life. So he breathed on it. He breathed into it. And if he gave it breath, it came alive. He said, this is good. So that's why we say breath is valuable. Breath is precious. Word is magic. Word is sacred. So that's what he reenacted. So that's the presentation of scene one of our creation. And after we did these things, after First Maker made human beings, the mountains, the plants, animals, and sparkling waters, he will do another thing too. That will be the crows to come for ages. These will be 5 men from the Crow tribe who will be tested by the First Maker. Let's give Old Man Coyote, Sheeta Bear, and Red Woman a round of applause. These are students from our school, and their outfits and paraphernalia were manufactured right here at the school. Maar het is gewoon daar, die. Ezik waar je gaan zaken wat terecht. Nee, als je erbij niet. Gisteren je goed niet. Kan je wel even uitzoeken. Kan je zeggen, wat zeggen hoor. Zaken wat te wagen dit. Je wil wel over. Nou zeg dat je waar is. Het is waar is. Na je erbij echt bij jou. Kusje je dit terug. Nee, hij. Gisteren maar schuld. Maar de maat zat ik wacht. Hij maakt weer een haak zet. Again. Waar wacht bij wat dit schoot moet ik weer gespannen. Kan ik ooit kaveren gespannen bij je weer als je was ik jou weer iets in. Het deed dat. Again, let's go. Behouden schieten. Met dat cheretje schieten. Kom er ook maar bij dat denk je die het schijnt dat corridor kaart zit. Dus je moet zeggen, hier dan merk dat de periode heel erg schees zal karara kijk je hoe je. Maar hij schees hier de groot zit op. Hij de goed chas out. Kom de pil zit. Heel erg gisteren kan haal kan de pil kan ook komen even zit. Maar zeg je dat samen even zit. Het daar khawi wareetjak baartje wareetjak isaak wat iets baahile jogie khishshtuya kom maar daar maar tsaajir maar wat shur kom maar eetjak heb gekhoord maar je go gelen koli was wahu. And after First Maker made human beings, the mountains, the plants, animals, and the sparkling waters, First Maker took 5 men from his creation, and he wanted to test which of these 5 men possessed the strongest of hearts. Who was the strongest of heart? So First Maker took these 5 men from different places, from all over the creation. So you see them coming from all corners of the earth, over to where First Maker will make them do this test. When these men come, he will tell them, I'm going to test your heart. I'm going to take the strongest of the heart of any one of you, and I will have things for you to do. So what I want you to do is this. Over there is an image of a man with a bow and arrow, and he will pull that bow and point the arrow right at you. And I want each one of you, one at a time, to run at him. And we want to see how strong your heart is, how brave you are. So he told them to do that. So the first man ran after the image to see how strong he was, and the man pulled his bow. So This is the first one. There he goes. And he pulled his bow, and he got scared, and he pulled off. Said, that was no good. Says, that's not the one. So I'll take the next one. He says, now you go. Now he goes, and there he shields himself and runs away again. So Old Man Coyote says, this is not good. There's only 3 of you left. Now you go. So he runs, and he shields himself, and he dodges. So now, said, only 2 of us left. Said, you go. Run slow, and don't be afraid. But he shielded himself and pulled off. He turned to this one, and he said, you're the last one. I want to see how brave and how strong your heart is. So you go, right at him, just like you're just... He went right over, just went right over. So he said, he's the strongest one. Let's give him a big hand. So one at a time, the men ran at the image, only to fail and fall aside. These were weak-hearted people, and they would not go at the image. But when the Apsarogas turned to run at the image, he was the only one left out of the first maker's creation to make a run at that image. As the Apsaroga went, he went straight on, as you saw. He went straight against the image and tumbled as though he was tackling the image. Apsaroga was the strongest and most fearless of all the men that tried the test. He had the strongest of heart. So the Creator took him and he said, this is the Apsaroga. I made them to be small in number, but possess strong hearts. I will place them in the center where we will never be overcome by any outside force. Then First Maker said to the Apsaroga, I will stand beside you, and whenever you are in need, call my name. I will be there for you and to protect you. So that was scene 1 of the Apsaroga creation. Oral tradition links the origin of the Apsaroga, but before we do that, I'll say that in Crow just for a little bit. I know you all understand English. Het shield. Easy by here. And then the Khwaga, Chikhom, how can I hear it? Ashbat charge the shoulder. Can I hear it? What a credit the shoulder. They kiss you. She a bed. It's after what. But they were all the DY of the Hector. Can I hear it? The Ashbat charge it. Shoulder gave it to me. Yet, but there is a said, Stachigashie, Candivia get a kush bazoon. Candida would go pashidu. They would cook well. Well, the shit would say, well, Mallet, he had a lift there. Yet, Apsaroga yesterday, cook Atsababa, you did. Can I hear you what charge it? And go, here, dear, go over here, deep parts of your body tea. Da schon. War nicht so stark. Wieder ist also Theorie, was gibt's in. An oral tradition that links the origin of the Apsaroga to a separation from a parent group is something like this. The other group formed by the separation would become known as the Hidatsa. The Apsaroga lived as First Maker wanted them. They traveled about the land. They hunted, gathered plants, and they survived. And they would migrate with the animals. They were nomadic people. And as our 2 brothers come out into the middle, you'll see that the Apsaroga traveled extensively across the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and what is now the United States and southern Canada. After some time, the group migrated out of the Great Lakes area and came to a place now called Devil's Lake, in northeastern part of what is now North Dakota. Here there were 2 brothers, and they're out there now, no intestines, and his brother, Red Scout. They were instructed by their father, who was wearing a word on it. He was a chief of the tribe, Their father told them to go on a fasting experience to seek a new way of life during a famine among the tribe. The chief speaks. No intestine, Red Scout, you go out and seek for a new way of life for our people, so that we may live on during this time of need. And the brothers say, yes, we will, Father. After 4 days of fasting, the two brothers, No Intestine and Red Scout, returned from their fasting experience. Each one of them had received a vision and related their experiences in the sweat lodge to their father. Red Scout tells of his vision first. Red Scout tells his father, Father, I, Red Scout, have seen the hair of the corn waving in the wind. I have also seen where I am to settle with my people. I am to settle on the bluffs above the river and plant the corn on the floodplains below. I will live by the water of the great river. Then No Intestine came and told of his vision. He was anxious to tell his father. No Intestine said, Father, I too have received a vision which tells me to seek the seeds of the sacred tobacco plant up near the mountains. I am to go on a long journey to seek this sacred tobacco seed. I am to look for this plant at the foot of the mountains. Once I locate this sacred plant, I am told I would find my people's home, the best place for them, my people. No Intestine's people would become hunters and warriors. The father says, Red Scout, No Intestines, it is good that each of you have gone out to seek a new way of life. Both of you will one day become leaders and lead your people to a new tomorrow. This is what I am told, and it will be so. Aho! You can heal. And that cheat days. Sheep days. Il Kualera. Dak Barshikiadao. Bershisa Nagara, I'm the long trek west. The group following No Intestines called themselves Beetlegate, our side. The Beetlegate traveled along the Missouri River, settling in various places, and eventually stopped near the Wakamatete Chief Mountain in present-day Montana. So we're going to have Luella sing the lullaby about Chief Mountain. Hinage Arijuao, Kore Chief de Hishish, Hokakabari, Kurgia Kawashek, Kon Awayashik, Equal Gushes, Hekdera, Na, Sheep de Batchit, Baigaratishna, Wahao, Shitokuraki, Dana, Yaigo. Thank you, Luella. Here, No Intestines fasted again. On the fourth day, he received a vision, telling him he was not at his destination. The area was too cold, and the winters were too harsh. And then sheep did, they got a TV sheet out of and they walk away so bad. Wash here. I go 2 hours. His take is suck. His take cheer to you. His take, which is cheer you, whatever to sort. in the take a cycle. The Betelgeuse then traveled south. He arrived at a large body of water so wide one could not see across the water. The large body of water was salty to the taste, which they called Betelgeuse, the lake that tastes of salt. Today we know it as the Great Salt Lake in northern Utah. This place was not agreeable to the Betelgeuse. It was too hot and too dry, and game was scarce. Great Salt Lake will go hit to suck. And by go to suck it dead. Chia Tawir, Chia Wadu, a Mawazuri. So it was decided they would move eastward toward the rising of the sun. No intestines in this group eventually reached the Canadian River in present-day Oklahoma. This is called Bayaja, Arrowhead River by the Betelgeuse, by the Crow. So the well will sing a lullaby about Bayaja. Camilla? Roughly translated, those lullaby words say that I am now at the Arrowhead River, and downstream from here is where the raven, if he gets hungry, he looks for the crow. We're talking about two birds here. And then he notes that even the dogs are trying to take the food away from us. And when they do that, they say there's not plenty of food there. And they see where the deer have been. They see where the dogs have been. They see where the animals have been. But it's still not the kind of place that the crows wanted. Here, no intestines fasted again. This time he was told to move north. The Betelgeuse moved north, following the big river, Missouri River, to the Platte River. The Betelgeuse arrived at a place called Where There Is a Fire. It is believed that this was a place where coal was burning underground. It may have been in Colorado or Wyoming. From here, the Betelgeuse traveled on the Platte River. The Platte River led them to the Powder River, which they followed until they reached the Bighorn Mountains in northern Wyoming. And then, Baya, I go look at a chewy sheath, and I did here to go to suck. Can I go? Yes, Baya, I told you. I asked you, Sally, she said, could that a kid? Here, go here. Could that a kid? Wat zie je daar te komen staan waar? Ja, kijk, maar zo gauw wel. Bighorn Mountains, is het goed dat is zo gauw wel. Komt hier, ga ik ook gewoon, wat zie je kijk. The crest of the Bighorn Mountains is called the extended mountains by the Saddlegate people. It is considered the most sacred place of their world. The highest peak of the crest of the ridge is known as Cloud's Peak, and it was on this peak that no intestines fasted for the fourth time. He received a vision telling him that he was in the right place, and that the tobacco seed could be found at the bottom of Cloud Peak. No intestines looked to the base of the mountain. He saw the seeds as twinkling stars. Finally, the spiritual instructions were fulfilled. The Saddlegate people were now located in the large and bountiful country promised to them through the vision of no intestines by the Creator, the Great Spirit from a long time ago. Now, Hula go me she's side you sheep did it. Me she's son there can go to out it. And I get a new as well, she's take up it's a cheer bush. Can more. Can how the surgery. But she's I'm no she could take. Kogo here, Cosigare. It's a cheer, got sounds I can't do. Ich gehe über go do. Kann ich ja eigentlich. Aber ich will auch kann ich ja. Kann gon. Ich stehe auch hier. Hat der ganze war kann hula hier. Inna ich war hier als ich weiß. Quart die als ich weiß. Kuschel da ich weiß. Kann go das sehen. The Saturday people increased in number. The climate was good. The game was plentiful. There were many berries and roots, many clear streams and cool springs to drink from. Even the grass was so rich, the meat they called it greasy grass, the katashat. And now, Absaloga, Koshi Goship, Dora Hideli Shila, Badatit, Bahid, Babid Git, Badat Bashville, Kodak. Barit bir recorded, Bob Pryor recorded. There we there. Taji got. Baharik, Arshgatter, Badatit. There is Marco was up. A Maru so we can't. We can't say we can't share with you. Have you Kirage Gari Hawasawa, Kuahid? This ends scene 1. The migration of the crow. Let's give the cast a big hand. Spirit put Crow Country exactly in the right place. It has snowy mountains and sunny plains, all kinds of climates, and good things for every season. When the summer heat scorches the prairies, you can draw up under the mountains. The air is sweet and cool. The grass is fresh. The streams are bright as they come tumbling out of the snowbanks. There you can hunt the elk, the deer, the antelope. When their skins are fit for dressing, you will find plenty of white bear and mountain sheep. And it did. Away-chick. Kaligo de kere bush, Kalijo etchin. Kete wata-chick. Kete. Kalitse. Wata-sakua hilir. Biokshir Kalegash, Keke, Wahari, Swagak. Bilenchiliagat, Kuchenchiliagat. Kovanegar, Ek Vilis Samisha. Ishmirush got it down here. Vileshit. Kutet, Vilet, Opsalovish, Zachikasu, Gort, Vileshi Saima. They like a Musa.
Scene 2, Land of the Crow. Part 1, that is said by one of our famous Crow chiefs, Ada Bush, Sorebilly. The Great Spirit put Crow Country exactly in the right place. It has snowy mountains, sunny plains, all kinds of climates, and good things for every season. When the summer heat scorches the prairies, you can draw up under the mountains where the air is sweet and cool. The grass is fresh. The bright streams come tumbling out of the snow banks. There you can hunt the elk, the deer, and the antelope when their skins are fit for dressing. There you will find plenty of white bears and mountain sheep. Here push. Hapsaroge. Innate. Aragabera pshigo gute. Bill pshiga aregas. Awe itchissa. Birai. Arajinera pshigo. Ho mara. Tira. Hutshirigas itchissa. Birai. Biziera pshigo. Ho. Awe itchissa. Birai. Bilukhber. Arapshigo. Ko Duzu Ko Psaroge